Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your January the 5th, just for today, in a meditation. I hope you're having a beautiful morning. Brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's see what we have today. All right, the title of the meditation is Recovery at Home. We can enjoy our families in a new way and may become a credit to them instead of an embarrassment or a burden. That is taken from the basic text, page 104. We're doing great in recovery, aren't we? We go to a meeting every day. We spend every evening with our friends in the fellowship, and every weekend we dash off to a service workshop. But if things are falling to pieces at home, we're not doing so great after all. We expect our families to understand. After all, we're not using drugs anymore. Why don't they recognize our progress? Don't they understand how important our meetings, our service, and our involvement in the fellowship are? Our families will not appreciate the change NA is working in our lives unless we show them. If we rush off to a meeting the same way we rushed off to use drugs, what has changed? If we continue to ignore the needs and desires of our partners and children, failing to accept our responsibilities at home, we aren't practicing these principles in all our affairs. We must live the program everywhere we go, in everything we do. If we want the spiritual life to be more than a theory, we have to live it at home. When we do this, the people we share our lives with are sure to notice the change and be grateful that we found NA. Just for today, I will take my recovery home with me. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Recovery at home. My personal opinion is that how well I do at home or how awful I do at home really is the measuring stick for me. The way that I treated family when I was in active addiction was not a pretty sight. And because I was always chasing the next one, I was rarely around. I can remember my husband traveling for work, and I loved the fact that he was rarely around. It gave me more of an opportunity to use when I wanted to, how I wanted to, as much as I wanted to, because I wanted to. I didn't have to worry about him seeing me under the influence. However, as the years progressed, it became more difficult to hide that I had a habit. And I don't know if you can relate to the story, but I'm pretty sure if you're listening that you can. Our families tolerated us, enabled us, put up with us, watched us dying. My mother once told me I was the walking dead. I looked like the walking dead. And she had no idea what she was saying. She had no idea how far gone my disease of addiction had become. And many times we're no longer respectful. Our social skills have gone out the window. We treat people like they're in the way. We treat every discussion, every conversation like it's a personal attack. We get offended very easily. And in reality, we're probably not even offended. We might be irritated, but we're not really offended because most of the time we do understand that what they're saying is the truth. It just happens to be poor timing. After all, I'm in the middle of trying to get the next one. What do you mean you want to have a conversation with me about how I clean the house or that we need some groceries? How dare you? Don't you know I'm an addict and I'm trying to get the next one? And you know what? Honestly, many of us, by the time we got to the end of our road, we were in prison cells or we were in some institution or we were skid row. We were on the streets living in a shelter, but having to leave first thing in the morning as soon as breakfast was served, if it was served. So, yeah, this concept of even impacting our family, a lot of us didn't have family. Many of us lost our children, lost the rights, which is different than losing custody, right? When you can lose custody to a family member and still, or an ex, and still have visitation. But many of us, we even lost that. The system said, no, these children don't deserve to have to live like that. If you want to hurt yourself, go ahead, but you're not going to do that to your children. But look at us now. Look how far we have come along. We make meetings on a regular basis. We do all of the things that go along with being a member of Narcotics Anonymous. And because we believe, I'm doing something they ought to be proud of me for, I'm doing what I need to do. But we're still not available. We're still missing in action at important events because, oh, I'm going to the convention. Oh, how many conventions do you need to make in a year? How many weekends do you have to go out with your friends and go to dances and travel all over? It's almost like the only thing that has changed is what we're chasing. We don't want our pursuit of recovery to have the same effect that our disease and our pursuit of drugs had on our families. They need to see the change. And the only way they're going to sense it or see it is if we spend valuable time with them. If we actually experience living with them, interacting with them. And yes, I hate to say it, watching those goofy movies that don't interest us one bit. Taking time to go visit our elderly parents if they're still alive. Maybe they're not. Maybe they've gone on. Maybe they died while we were in our disease of addiction. Some of us could go to the burial site and clean it up a little bit, maybe put some flowers on it. There's plenty of things that involve our families, our roommates, our people that we encounter in our day-to-day life that we actually do life with outside of Narcotics Anonymous and fellowship. So today, January 5th, I want for you to think about that. How will you take your recovery home with you? Will all of the beauty that we see in you in the meetings and at events be the same thing that your family sees? Or do you have one face for recovery and a different face at home? Are you really nice and kind and huggy and sharing really good, but as soon as you get home, every other word is a cuss word? You don't contribute towards the cleanliness of your home. You bully your own children, nag your husband, or bully your wife. These are things that we want to talk about and think about. We want to recover in all of our affairs. We want to practice spiritual principles in all of our affairs. So today I want you to practice that. I want you to think about that. If I were a fly in your home, on the wall, watching your recovery at home, would it feel like recovery? I want for you to make today the best January 5th in your home for you and your recovery. I want the people in your home to sense it, to feel it, and to know it. Now, you've been in the flow of the stream, so get out there and do something mighty today. Let January 5th, this January 5th, be the best January 5th you have ever lived. I intend to. Talk to you soon.